Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Fellas, it's 800, y'all. And leave it to the good doctor to make a grand entrance and be late to his own 800th birthday, everybody. Welcome to episode 800 of Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Like, this is not Doc.
This is not Doc. I am not Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, who started this thing off, but somewhere during the introduction, while it was playing, we lost Dr. Cavil, and he's trying to log back in, so he is actually here now. So I'm going to stop filling up all this dead airspace and let the good doctor come on. Can you hear us, Doc?
I think he might be froze.
So
let's get up and going then.
Let's get up and going. I guess I'll do the intro since I done already started this thing off. Welcome to episode 800 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sport and HBCU diaspora. All things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU's athletic program and the business of HBCU sports. I am not your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. I think he is unfrozen now. So everybody who signed a role and was thinking about leaving, you cannot leave. There he is.
Do
it. Mr. 800 himself, our host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with Charles Bishop, Wilton Jackson. As usual, Mike Washington is out on assignment. We are filming from our home studios. Well, don't look like Doc is in his home studio, but I think everybody else is. And sending a signal live to our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University and Houston, Texas. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting educational consulting and data analytics. Without further ado, Mr. 800 himself.
Appreciate you, AD Drew. Great job. A round of applause to everybody. Literally, as we get ready to get started, I am in the Omni at the Los Angeles, I should say, at the Omni Hotel. And as we got ready to get started, let's get stuff. All of a sudden, my setup tumbles to the side.
I went to go. We going through the intro, and I looked away. So I'm looking at my other screen, and I look back, and I go to pull Doc up, and he's not there. And it's like 10 seconds to go in the intro, and I'm like, okay, I've been here before. I know how to fake it.
Yeah, good job, good deal. Thanks for everybody pulling in. I am excited with the show 800. As I said, I'm here in Los Angeles at the AERA Educational Conference, one of the largest ones out there that has educators across the country and to some degree across the world that talks about the unique framework of education. So as a dean of the College of Education, I'm here making sure that HBCUs and more importantly, Texas Southern University has a voice terms of our thoughts on educational preparation programs and education in higher ed in general. And so after this, I actually have another event that I will rush over to and make sure that I have my presence there. But I'm here to make sure you all have a great show. And without further ado, let me just go with everybody. Let's get the question out the way. 800 episodes. Wilton Jackson II. What are your thoughts on being a part of 800?
I'm just honored to just always be on the show, let alone just for it to be 800. I mean, in my mind, I didn't necessarily know if I would be around to see episode 800, but I mean, I'm glad that I'm a part of it, and then just seeing what you built with this platform, you, Charles, AD, Mike, even though he ain't always around, but it's just good to see what y'all are doing and continuing to see it grow. Because do know that a lot of people often talk about this show. Some people ask me, as a matter of fact, small sidebar, I was at a gas station one night and somebody said, "You be on that show with Dr. Cavil and Charles Bishop?" I said, "Yeah." Now it's late at night now. I said, "Yeah, I'll be on that show." Yeah, and then it's the dark skinned guy. He kind of got a bald head. He be saying some off the wall stuff sometimes about Jackson State and some of these swag schools. I said, "You talking about AD Drew?" Yeah, him. I said, "Okay." I said, "You know what? I won't walk around Jackson or go around Jackson not thinking that people don't pay attention." So do know that people are paying attention to this show and what you bring to it and what you bring to the HBCU landscape.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing this phenomenal job for sure. AD Drew, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to kind of piggyback off of Wilton, and it's amazing when I run into people and they be like, "I know you." Sometimes I get I know you from somewhere, or I've seen you from somewhere, or hey, you that guy who be on one of them shows and everything. And I bump into so many people. Do I know you from having coached against you when you were playing? Do I know you from a competitor school that I worked at, or do you know me from seeing me on inside the HBCU Sports Lab or BCSN Sports Lab? But it's kind of ironic that this week is the week for 800. When you think back at some of the things historically that have happened during this particular week, these first couple of weeks of April. I mean, a couple of days ago was the anniversary of Hank Aaron hitting 715. For you guys down in Houston, the Astrodome opened up umpteen years ago on yesterday. You got the Masters this week. You got the anniversary of the birth of AD Drew tomorrow. So it's a lot of things that have happened.
Shameless plug.
I wonder where he's going. You tied it in with us. Like, oh boy.
It's a lot of good things have happened this particular week. I have 54 of them in tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Let me go to my partner extraordinaire, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of being able to, us as a team, to get to 800?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's been an honor, and it has been a little that I know on that fateful rainy day when I sought you out over at Texas Southern that it would be 800 shows later, to be a part of this and be a part of this platform that we've seen grow, that we have watched so many others come into this HBCU space, but to continue to be a paragon of information. I think that's one of the big things that you have brought out with regards to this show is people know that they're getting good factual information that's being put out and thought-provoking information. So it's been an honor to be a part of this platform and to be a part of this HBCU Zeitgeist. And I really am very appreciative. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in the way that you've tuned in. Very, very appreciative for everybody from Jackson to Tallahassee to
Daytona.
I mean, all over. I mean, it's just
all through the Smacking and beyond. Chicago, exactly. New York, LA. I got folks out here. So it's amazing across the world in some components. Some of them catch us live late, and other ones catch us on demand. So it's pretty cool when you talk about that. And so let me share kudos to AD in terms of happy early birthday if we get there, and we'll certainly talk about that. But I don't want to bury the lead. The lead that everybody was excited about the other day was a HBCU top-ranked Bethune-Cookman University. VCU defeated LSU, Louisiana State, in baseball, top 25 squad. An HBCU program walked in one of the college baseball's toughest venues and left with a statement victory as Bethune-Cookman knocked off number 24 LSU 10-7, I believe, or 10-6 was the final score there on Tuesday at Alex Box Stadium. We will have an opportunity to interview Coach Hernandez in terms of his program later in the show, just to talk about what he's rebuilt that program that has a rich tradition and breaking through in terms of getting a SWAC championship after doing it during the regular season. Unique to last season, it was the first where we combined all 12 teams playing in league standings in terms of cross versus the divisional matchup, which we've seen since the first expansion to 10 members prior to this expansion to 12 members, where we continue with the division until last year. So fascinating to see that that program ranked in a lot of people's rankings. We'll see what they're ranked in our ranking today as the top. And you talk about making a statement to show that they plan to continue that legacy that was there. Big pitching performance, big hits, and it was a clear victory. It wasn't one of those, tight, late inning big hit or tough call here or something like that. They really commanded that game. So credit goes out to Bethune-Cookman in terms of a program certainly on the rise. With that, before we get into our first break and come back on the poll rankings, let me go to everybody and kind of get what's on their mind in terms of news of the day. Charles, what is your news of the day? What's has you thinking about HBCU sports today?
Sure. Let's quickly look at the SWAC Baseball Weekly Awards for this past week, as Alabama State's Miguel Oropeza, Johan LeBoy from this, Alabama State's Johan LeBoy, Mississippi Valley State's Tom Early, and Israel Ramos from Arkansas Pine Bluff, as well as Zach Weeder. They were all recognized this past week. Co-hitters of the week are Miguel Oropeza and Tom Early. Miguel Oropeza from Alabama State, he hit .471 over 4 games, helping the Hornets go 2-2 on the week, went 8 for 17 at the plate with 2 doubles, 1 triple, 1 home run, and 7 RBIs. Aragua, then it was Wayla Native, went 5 for 6 with 2 doubles and a home run, 3 runs scored, and 5 RBIs in the 14-10 win to open the UAPB series. Co-hitter of the week was Tom Hurley. He was SWAC co-hitter of the week after turning in an impressive performance all around at the plate across 4 games. He batted .412 with 8 RBIs with at least a hit in every contest. Pitcher of the week from Alabama State was Johan LeBoy, went 1-0 this past week, earning the win in the series-clinching Game 2 victory over Arkansas Pine Bluff, where he worked 7 innings, allowing 1 run, scattering 7 hits and 6 strikeouts against 1 walk on the night. And your newcomers of the week, Israel Ramos, had a breakout performance that played a major role in Valley's series win over Alcorn State. Opened this weekend in dominant fashion, went 3 for 5 at the plate. The other newcomer of the week was Zach Weeder. He was recognized after a strong 4-game stretch for UAPB, where he went 8 for 17 at the plate, batting .471 with 5 runs scored, 7 RBIs, 3 doubles, 1 home run, 1 walk on a stolen base against Central Arkansas and Alabama State. And those are your SWAC players of the week.
Nice job. Great job on the SWAC players of the week. Wilton, what's on your mind, HBCU sports, going into the weekend?
So I was going to give the softball players of the week, but I'm just going to go. I'll leave that to AD. But I was going to mention that it's 2 spring games this weekend, specifically Jackson State. And then also it's a spring game for Alcorn this weekend. And so I know we're knee deep in baseball, but you can never get away from football, too much. So it's going to be exciting to see, what both teams in the state of Mississippi are going to be doing. Obviously, everybody will have their eye on Jackson State, what that looks like now after, post Jacoby and Morgan and obviously the loss of the 2 running backs to see what goes there. And just, how can Alcorn kind of duplicate the latter part of their season? Can they duplicate that success in 2026? So just something to think about as we navigate the spring season of baseball, track and field, things of that nature. Also, you have spring games that are still going on as well.
Excellent point. And it's always challenging with this new framework of transfer portal and a lot of things going on in the collegiate game of how people manufacture their spring games as well. So that's something always to keep on. Are people doing some new things less than traditional in terms of how they are pulling forward with their spring games. Let me give a shout out to Emma. Daytona Beach is in the house. Carol over there talking about PV is in the house. I want to give them a shout out in terms of what they're doing, checking us out on Facebook. With that, AD, what are your thoughts in terms of sports? What's on your mind, HBCU world?
Well, I'm gonna go off the beaten path, and I'm gonna talk about what everybody is talking about outside of football. Wilton, how about this transfer portal?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna give the names because we'd be here for about 2 podcasts if I started going down the names.
That's real.
But I'm just gonna highlight some of the numbers of people who HBCU who are in the portal. Alabama State with 7 players in the portal. Delaware State, 6 players hitting the portal. Alcorn State with 9 players hitting the portal. Maryland Eastern Shore, 6 players hitting the portal. Pine Bluff, 7 players hitting the portal. South Carolina State, seven players hitting the portal. Jackson State, 6 players hitting the portal. Hampton, 6. Valley, 7. A&T, 9. Southern, 6. Tennessee State, 5. And fellas, that's just on the men's side.
Wow.
So, it's just alarming to see all these kids out here in the portal. I wish them luck. That portal life ain't that nice. Ain't that nice. And we see so many kids who hit the portal and then next thing you know, you see them on the milk cartons in the store.
Yeah, I like the freedom. I know folks think different about the portal, and certainly the world seems to be coming to the end because of the portal. Although people are not as serious as people bombing countries, but I know in our sports world it's a different thing. But let me shout out to some of the folks listening in the chat. Edwin is on here, WSSU Ram Nation. He says that Virginia Union has a coach in the portal.
They got their coach from the portal.
Here. Brian giving some shout out. So, it's going to be fascinating to keep up that. I think it's just a new platform. Obviously, NCAA did announce that they're going to do some things in terms of eligibility. And then you have, obviously, as we discussed on Tuesday, the executive order, which I'm not sure what it's really valued at in terms of what it put out there. But it's out there, so we'll get a chance to kind of see this. I think what you got to really fall in love with now is your team, which at the college level is what most people follow anyway. Very few folks really could tell you that many names on their team. Some of us hardcore folks, we could do that. That's just what we do. But it'll be fascinating to see. But I think all in all, everything will be okay. HBCU Overdrive, appreciate you supporting us. Good to see that you're doing well. Back on the mic in terms of your show, wishing you well too. With that being said, let's take our first break. Come back on the other side and talk a little bit about the baseball top 5 at the mid-major level. What did Brian say? Brian is out there.
He says FAMU and Southern are the only women's basketball teams. HBCU.
No players in the portal.
No players in the portal. So that's natural matriculation. That's a good thing. Well, you lose your normal 4 to 5 every year, not when you do
graduation.
At least 3.
Yeah, that's why I say your normal 4 to 5.
Yeah.
I'll take that for sure. Let's take our first break. Come back on the other side. We'll see about these poll rankings. See what these gentlemen have to say about the mid-major, and we can compare it because we do have a Black College 9 release out there and see what your thoughts are there.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
And we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
Now, what about HBCUs? You mentioned.
Absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay? That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
All right. I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's jump right into the poll ranking. Bring up the data sheets. Hey, Drew, we got a different background. Good job, AD. Dropping out this week was Morehouse Maroon Tigers 16.
I demand a recount.
They were playing pretty good, but they dropped out a little bit, but they're still in the mix. So keep your eyes on Morehouse. They're playing some really good baseball in all seriousness. 16-15 overall and 12-10 in the conference race. Let's see as the season is coming to a close, what kind of push. In fact, let's look at the receiving votes and see what that looks like. Benedict Tigers 16-10, 14-10, 28 points, right above Morehouse Maroon Tigers that are still receiving votes. As we said, they're at 16-15 overall and 12-10. Let's get to the top 5 programs. That means somebody is new to the rankings, and it's Savannah State Tigers coming in at 21-17, 15-9 in the conference race. That's in the SIEC. 32 points as they were not ranked last week, but in week 4, they got into the top 5 at number 5. Let's look at number 4 in the ranking. Still in the SIEC is number 4, and it should be Edward Waters Tigers, 21-17, 17-7, 39 points, and they remain in that 4th spot. Let's look at number 3, which should be the Houston Tillerson Rams, which it is. 22-16, 10-5. They're out of the HBCU. They received 1 first-place vote, 43 points, and they stay in the number 3 spot from last week. At number 2, it's going to stay right there in the HBCU at the NIA level. Talladega Tornadoes, 22-15, 13-4. 1 first-place vote, 59 points, ranked number 2 and staying there. We know about this Talladega Tornadoes. They play some good baseball. They made it to the tournament, got a couple of wins, so they're doing what we expect them to do. Challenging for their number 1 spot. We'll see how this plays out. But the number 1 spot continues to be with the Albany State Golden Rams of the SIEC. They sit at 26-13, 20-4 overall, 67 points, 5 first-place votes, as they are number 1 in week number 4. Let me go to you straight off the rip, if you would, Wilton. What are your thoughts in terms of top 5 mid-major baseball style for that?
Looking at this top 5, I would definitely have to go with obviously Albany State being number 1. I'm good with that. They've been obviously dominant from the top. All the other 2 under Albany State, if you could go back, Drew, to the other 2 teams behind Albany State. Talladega Tornadoes in Houston Tillerson. Talladega definitely have seen some of their games a little bit this season so far. Definitely strong supporter behind them. Houston Tulsa is a good 3. 4 and 5, I'm okay. Could you make a case potentially for Savannah State over Edward Waters? I'm not saying it should be. I'm just saying, could you potentially make a case? But as far as like 1, 2, and 3, I'm okay.
Yeah, interesting. Case of Savannah State Tigers over Edward Waters.
I'm not saying it has to be.
I'm not pushing back this time. I'm just saying interesting dialogue. It's good for talk. Charles, where are you in terms of the mid-major?
I'm obviously good with Albany State and Talladega 1 and 2. Houston Tillotson, I was just kind of looking at their stats. I'm okay with them at 3. I can make an argument, I think, for Edward Waters above Houston Tillotson in terms of 4-3 flip. But it looks pretty on course here in terms of taking a look at the first 5. It does bring up an interesting matchup with one of the teams receiving votes. I'm curious about that series this weekend.
Good stuff. AD Drew?
Here's what makes the SIAC so fun. I'm looking at it. Albany State, clear number 1. Won't argue that. Mm-hmm. But when you get to 4, 5, and 6 and 7, they have all beat up on each other.
Exactly.
For instance, Morehouse took 2 of 3 against Edward Waters. Edward Waters and Savannah State played this upcoming weekend. So to answer your question, Wilton, we'll see what happens with that. Okay. You know, will that be a sweep or will that be a 2-1 one way or the other? But like I said, Morehouse took 2 or 3 against Edward Waters, but Benedict swept Morehouse. So it's
a surprise.
Yeah, well, if you ever been to Benedict's field, you would understand nobody wins in Columbia, South Carolina on that field. Anyway,
you got to know how to play the field there.
You got to play the field. You got to throw 62-foot strikes. and you remember how they used to tell you was crossfiring when you was playing ball in the backyard because you weren't quite lined up with the plate. Yeah. Anyway, let me not talk about somebody in the conference because I do know why I get my bread buttered. But Edward Waters took 2 out of 3 against Benedict, but that was in Florida. So, you know, it's just interesting. Any one of those 4 teams could beat each other. The SIAC is gonna be wide open. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna give y'all a little secret. Don't look past Morehouse in this tournament coming up because Morehouse will have a good tournament team, and I'm gonna tell you why. They've got enough pitching. When I say pitching, POs, not shortstop coming in to pitch, not left field coming in to pitch. They have enough POs, and they've got 2 arms that they have picked up within the last couple of weeks who are coming back from injury, who aren't even in the role, who were starters last year.
Okay.
So watch out for Morehouse come tournament time. You do not want to be the team opposite Morehouse in the tournament.
Good stuff. Let's take next break and come back. And I think we will have our surprise visitor with us when we come back after the break.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit HBCUPrideJoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to love and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
103 miles an hour. Actually, Rodriguez, 103 miles an hour off the bat.
This ball is hit very hard, and it is up into the left field bleachers. In fact, beyond the left field landing. Rodriguez literally hits one into the night, his first home run of the year, and we are tied at 4.
I think it might have been a changeup that Theophilus hung, and that ball jumped off the bat of Rivera at 103 miles an hour. Actually, Rodriguez, 103 miles an hour off the bat.
This ball is hit very hard, and it is up into the left field bleachers. In fact, beyond the left field landing. Rodriguez literally hits one into the night, his first home run of the year, and we are tied at 4.
I think it might have been a changeup that Theophilus hung.
So, Coach, that's the SWAC champion head coach, Bethune-Cookman. Coach Hernandez. How you doing, Coach? Yes,
I can't hear you guys.
We can hear you.
We hear you loud and clear.
Yep. Can't hear us? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
He was saying he can't hear.
Charles, I just heard you, but I'm having a tough time hearing you guys.
Oh, okay.
All right. Can you hear us, Taco?
Hear us now?
You want to come out?
Try to log out. Try to log back in, Charles.
Yeah. Okay, Coach. They want you. Can you log out and log right back in?
Yep, I'll do it right now.
Okay.
So as we get those technical things going on, we have Coach there. Might need to tell him to come in and take the headphones out, Charles, if we can't hear him when we come back, and just have him do it with the little ping in the background. He is there in Mississippi Valley in Itta Bena. My understanding, they just got off the buses, literally heading to practice there to get prepared for the 3-game series they have down in that way, which will be fascinating. Tremendous, great opening, AD Drew, given chance to hear how they quiet that LSU Alex box there, as they like to call it, down there in Baton Rouge. As like, what's going on? Well, you just ran into the Wildcats. Bethune-Cookman. Coach, how you doing? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, you guys hear me?
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Sounding good. Mm-hmm. I told you got all that fancy equipment there. The Cat Eye Network, y'all look different over there on this side in Daytona.
Hey,
big boys around there beating up on the SWAC. Coach, how you feeling?
Hey, feeling good, but we're not in Daytona right now, so I miss my Cat Eye Network, buddies. We're here in Mississippi Valley, getting ready for an important conference series. Obviously after a monumental win on Tuesday at the box in Louisiana. Just so proud of all of our baseball student athletes, all of our coaches, and the support from the administration. It's obviously a big win, but make no mistake about it, we've turned the page, and we got to concentrate now on Mississippi Valley.
I know y'all turned the page, but let us reminisce a little bit. We get excited. We don't always get to do this. I know you've had some big wins. Non-conference wins is nothing near to you. Got a chance to get in the NCAA tournament and really played well in the NCAA tournament. Couldn't quite get a win there, but certainly was right there knocking on the door. But you're in conference play, and your main goals is to get the next game, which the next game is against Mississippi Valley Delta, the Delta Devils there. What are your thoughts in terms of how they playing? From our perspective, they're 6-6 in the conference. Obviously, we had our experience with the Valley in the past, but they seem to be playing some pretty good baseball right now. What are you seeing from your perspective, Coach?
Yeah, the same thing. I mean, they're sitting, 6-6, kind of middle of the pack right now in the conference. We felt as a coaching staff coming into this year, everybody got better, top to bottom, and that's attributed to, the work that the head coaches, obviously have done, and the assistant coaches that they work alongside with them. So at the end of the day, make no mistake about it, this is going to be a tough series. One thing that, we understand coming back from a successful 2025 season and the success we've had so far in 2026, we got a big bullseye on our back, and that's something that is earned. We've definitely earned that right. It's up to all of us to be able to handle that the correct way. As long as we continue to worry about just the Wildcats and play the brand of baseball that we're capable of doing, we're going to be okay. But make no mistake about it, this is a really good Mississippi Valley team. It's a much improved. Coach Dilbrey has done a phenomenal job, and he had success when he was at Harris Stowe University. So this isn't a surprise, at least for myself, knowing the landscape of HBCU baseball and what guys are doing. So it's going to be a really good series and a really tough series, for us this weekend. We just got to stay composed and, again, just try and win every inning and, do what we can and control what we can at the end of the day.
We're going to muscle through this interview like you muscle through games, coaching, and getting those tough pitches, tough at-bats. As EA said, it sounds like a rattlesnake is in your headphones there, so they're messing with you a little bit. Talking about the rattlesnakes, I'm going to go to AD Drew and let him ask the question.
Well, actually, I'm going to start off with shout out to Brian Fulford on Sunday's BCSN Sports Rap Show. He said this was one of those games to watch, and he actually called the upset on Tuesdays inside the HBCU Sports Lab when we was going through our predictions and games to watch. I stopped everybody. I was like, y'all can talk about this weekend all y'all want to, but I'm going to keep an eye on that game that was going on Tuesday night, and it was the score was 2-2 at that point in time that we talked about it. And Coach, I hope you don't mind if I share what I text you Wednesday morning with everybody.
You're good.
Get to the beat of it. Great win for BCU, the SWAC, and the HBCU culture. Keep rolling. Now y'all gonna take my Rattler card for this one. I root for BCU baseball, except when you play FAMU, because you do it the right way and have a great product to watch. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what I want to ask you about is that doing it the right way, Coach. You've got such a great mix of young men with a number of freshmen that you've recruited in and brought through the program traditionally, along with JUCOs and portal kids. So what is that secret to the sauce? So how is it that you're able to do that, blend that together, and to put out such a quality product of baseball that can go out and do not only do what you do within the conference, but also out of conference?
Well, it's called the secret sauce because it's going to be kept secret, right? Because you're going to go back up to the highest of 7 hills and report back. It's a Rattler Nation, so we can't.
We got a good formula over there. It's going to be the other 10 teams that's not in Florida that we got to worry about, Coach.
No, you know what, Drew, man, it comes down to, bringing, obviously high character kids at the end of the day. It's kids that we feel that are going to give us an opportunity to compete not only in conference, but out of conference. As you guys know, our out-of-conference schedule is a gauntlet. Take LSU out of the equation. It's Miami, Florida, Florida State, UCF, Stetson, who, UCF is ranked, top 15 in the country right now. So it's us to find, student athletes that are going to be able to handle the atmosphere, not only to play in conference, but out of conference. I think that there's several tools that we look at throughout the recruiting process as well that we're able to take 1, 2, maybe 3 tools, and how can we make those guys better and develop them through our program. It seems that every year that we've had, a certain individual the following year, they blow up or they get better as they go. I think that there's one or two things. Obviously, the high school kid with the landscape of college baseball, athletics, the student athletes are all older right now by a long shot. You got guys that are 23, 25 years old, but how is an 18-year-old going to be able to compete with a 25-year-old? I mean, that's just the reality of the situation, right now in the landscape in which we are in. Everyone's fighting for guys in the portal, but there's a ton and there's a plethora of junior college talent across the country that can be able to come in and fill in that gap. So, for us, it's a very, strategic maneuver in which how we recruit, whether it's from high school, whether it's from junior college, and whether it's the portal, because you can have a team full of transfer portal student athletes and it doesn't work out. You can have a team of primarily junior college guys with the transfer portal just being a plug and play, 2 or 3 kids there, and it works out fine. And we found our niche. And again, it's just coming back to, are they going to be able to compete not only in conference, but out of conference as well for us? And strategically, I think that we've done a pretty good job over the last couple of years of being able to attack that identity for us here between Kickers.
Go ahead, Wilton.
Coach, my question for you is, how much does a win like this kind of validate what you've been building with the program?
I mean, it's obviously great, you don't want to downplay it. I mean, I think it's definitely a monumental win. It's our first ranked win over a ranked opponent since 2017. This is nothing new for our program. This has been done in the past. But it does feel good, knowing that we were able to do this with this group that we had, and it goes back to last year with, in all reality, how the tournament played out, how we played in our non-conference, how we played in the regional, and understanding that all those guys that we had last year that had the opportunity to come back, they all came back. And this is the moment that we were talking about. I mean, this is an atmosphere at Alex Box Stadium where a lot of teams do not do well. They're on the road. There was 10,800 people at that stadium on Tuesday night. It was a regional atmosphere, and we talked about taking our program to the next level where we had a chance to go out and prove it, and we did do that. I think it opens up for recruiting, across the country, because a win like this can transcend our program and take it to the next level. But more so, I'm just so happy and fulfilled that our group was able to experience that. And that's something 10, 15, 20 years down the road, nobody is going to be able to take that away from them. They're going to talk about this to their kids, hopefully to their grandkids, their great-grandchildren at some point. This is a memory that's going to last a lifetime. And for me, that's the biggest joy that I have, that all guys are going to be able to, obviously have this lifetime memory of taking down the defending national champions.
Charles, if you would finish up and ask your question.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, take me back to that 7th inning. I mean, the bases loaded and Giancarlo Zambrano on the mound. I mean, he came up big. I got scared. I was sitting on the edge of my couch. I almost walked out and started chipping balls, but I had to just sit there and just sit through it. But I was nervous. But I mean, what was going through your mind when he was out there on the mound?
Charles, you've been with me now going on, this will be the 4th swag tournament, hopefully, that you get to call. And you know about my big 3 C's, calm, cool, collective, right? The team's going to take over the personality of the head coach, right? If there's an inclination of, nerves or trying to get out of whack, the team is going to pick up on that, We felt that Zambrano was the best matchup. They hadn't seen a changeup all game through 6 innings, LSU's offense. And we felt that Zambrano, being the SWAT reliever of the year, was the perfect guy in that situation. And it was just confidence. That's all it's about. It's talking to the guys. I had a pitching visit, mound visit in one of those innings, and just went up to Zambrano. Hey, man, you're good. There's no pressure on us. You have to understand that there is no pressure on us. The pressure's all on the other side. So just execute, do what you need to do, and we're going to be okay. But you grow that, right, with the relationships that you're able to build with the student athletes. That's the biggest key of everything. If they believe that you have their back, they're going to be able to do wonders because of the confidence that's instilled in them day in and day out. But as far as that 7th inning, I mean, obviously, it's bases loaded. You're on the road. You're thinking, well, base hit here, but you're still up by 4 or 5 runs. Just minimize at that point. And Zambrano, fortunate enough, right, had 3 big punch outs to their top 3 hitters in that potent LSU offense. But it comes down to instilling the confidence and the belief in every one of the guys. It doesn't matter if it's your number one go-to guy or it's the guy that just throws 10, 15 innings, or it's a platoon guy. It doesn't matter. It calls back to the relationships that are formulated and being authentic to who you are as a person and understanding that these are human beings at the end of the day.
Awesome answer there. Good job, gentlemen. Coach, get you out of here on this. Obviously, appreciate you contacting, providing updates, and being receptive to developing authentic relationships for those that like baseball, support your program and support you, as well as the SWAC and HBCUs in general. But with that being said, Deuce, he was watching the game, but it got to his bedtime, as you understand. Man, you tell your son as well. Sometimes he gets a cheat code, it gets a little weekend, or as we get to the end of the year, going to the tournament. Make sure you tell your son we really gracious in terms of how he handled the tournament with my son. But he went to bed, and he got up in the morning, and I told him. He said, "Yeah, that's what I thought." He said, "I'm not surprised."
Did he wear his HBCU gear to school, Doc?
He has gotten your mindset in terms of being calm, cool, and collected.
That's good advice.
Yeah, listen, man. That's what it's all about, right? This win, yes, we had the win, but all of our student athletes represent Bethune-Cookman University at the highest manner. And not only Bethune-Cookman, we all represent the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and we all represent HBCUs, whether it's D1, D2, NAIA, it don't matter. And our players understand that. They're enriched in the culture. They do everything around the community because they understand the magnitude of what it means being a byproduct, a graduate of an HBCU, as I myself am an HBCU grad from Florida Memorial, and I got my master's from Bethune-Cookman University. So they understand the magnitude of what we are doing, in which we're representing, again, not only Bethune-Cookman University, but the entire HBCU landscape as a whole. And a win like this should be provided as an uplifting for everybody and not cause division at all.
Oh, absolutely. He also told me that he's waiting. He said you told him he could interview you, and he's excited to do that. This weekend, we got to go see FAMU traveling to Prairie View. Shout out to AD as they got the victory, swept right out the rules against the Panthers, which was a little difficult. But on Saturday, he really had the time. And it's unique seeing his growth as you get to watch your players, you watch your son, your daughters, and all young people around the program in general, because it's more than just men that you build. There are women that do work and help you be great as well. Young ladies, for sure, that are going and maturating through the process. But he asked me, can I go interview the coaches? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. I said, we certainly could go ask.
Yeah.
So he talked to Coach Swoop, and they were getting ready to catch a plane, but he spent time to make sure he could interview him. And then he went over to Prairie View, and he believes he's a budding journalist because he asked some tough questions. So I was like, Coach said, no, that's good. I like that. So yeah, he says he's waiting to get a chance to talk with you, him and Miles, as they made sure they put that information out there. They were excited about what you're doing with the program and the SWAC and HBCUs in general. So I wanted to put a smile on your face and say, continue to do the work you're doing, because it goes beyond what your expectations are of getting wins against a top 25 team, number 24 LSU, and competing for another championship. That's who you are and what you do. So we want to say thank you and commend you for that. We'll let you get back to work, because I know you're ready to get it going in terms of getting those players in the dirt and getting some rest as they get going tomorrow and the rest of the week.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for everything you do covering HBCU sports, man. We definitely do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys down the road. Doc, we'll set some time when we get to Alabama, and we'll have Deuce interview me for an exclusive interview. That's for sure. Let him know I say what's up.
That's right. He's looking at the plane loads. He's still trying to get to Daytona. So as you said with the Wildcats, so it might even be before that. He hasn't forgot that. He's looking at the schedule. He's talking about the plane tickets. He said we can do this. We can come in. So he's in the pocket. But I look forward to it.
Hey, all I'm saying is a weekend at the beach. You can't beat that. I don't think you can get that anywhere else.
Trust
So if you
me, he
want to come
knows.
out and hang out at the beach,
He
you know,
all
Deuce and you guys will definitely be in for a good one.
See, that's
for sure.
that's an advantage you try to use over the other schools in Florida because they got that sand right there. All we got is hills.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you can stand up on a hill and hang out, but in Daytona, you can definitely come to the beach, you know, and enjoy the water.
Let's take our last break. We're going to get into the major division poll rankings. It's probably clear who's number one, but we will break it down and let you know who's also in the top 5 that's chasing number one. But, Coach, have a good series. Continue to have a good season. We look forward to talking with you later this season.
Don't let Valley do you like they like to do FAMU. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, and AD, this is all I got to say. Hail Wildcats. Have a great one. You guys have a good one. See you.
All right, take care. We'll be right back after this break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab. As you see, Wilton had to jump off and get to another assignment. So we're going to close off with these two gentlemen and bring you the poll rankings for the major division. As it said, you probably are not surprised by who's number one, but let's see who's with them and just how close they are. No teams dropped out, so the top 5 are the top 5 as they solidified that. We'll see if that changes a little bit moving forward, because you do have Norfolk State Spartans. They're playing in the Northeast Conference. They are a MEAC member in all other sports. They have a conference record of 8-3. They're in the middle of the mix, but playing some pretty good baseball. Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, talking about a team that will be interested as they face Bethune-Cookman, as you just heard. They're at 6-6 and surprised a lot of folks in the conference with 56 points. We've kind of talked a little bit about how they're playing. They've beaten teams that with them or below them. have struggled a little bit with the teams above them, but that's a statement for the Delta Devils. But they get a chance to make a major statement this weekend. So we're watching that game in a lot of different ways. But let's get in the top 5 and see how that looks in terms of that. UAPB Golden Lions, they sit at 8-4, 68 points, and they are in the 5th spot. Bringing us to number 4, which is Grambling State Tigers, that are also sitting at 8-4. It should be Grambling State Tigers, 73 points. They were 3rd, so they do drop after they had lost. They got a couple of those wins against Jackson State. Tough series, always tough in terms of that matchup. But bringing us to number 3, which is the Florida A&M Rattlers, who actually are 10-2. They have one first place vote. Somebody believes they should be at the top of the bowl. Oh, I wonder if Brian got in here and was able to get that. 80 points. They remain number 4 as they have slid up a spot in terms of their first place votes and the votes they got. Bringing us to number 2. They're at Texas Southern, 10-2. One first place vote, 82 points. With some of the changes in terms of what's going on, interim coach in the mix there. Not surprised to have Texas Southern in the mix, but sitting at 10-2 and tied for first place with Rattlers at 10-2 might be a little bit of surprise there. But they're playing some really good baseball. They have one first place vote. Charles does a lot of the calls over there, so I'm curious to see if he's part of that team that has shown a little love to Texas Southern and surprising everybody and saying that they should be number 1. I'm not saying any names. I'm just telling you. Number 1 is Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 10-2. They are 7 first place votes, 84 points. Obviously, this was out before the game that took place on Tuesday that we got a chance to talk about. It is inclusive of that overall record that we just doing conference records at this point. But 84 points in week number 4. Bethune-Cookman is number 1 in the poll rankings. But notice that all 5 teams in the top 5 are out of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I'm not sure this has ever happened in any of the poll rankings that I've done for one conference to have all the members ranked in terms of top 5. Obviously, you don't have a MEAC poll rankings, and you don't in many as independents that you do in some of the sports in terms of football. You do have 4 former MEAC teams that are in the NEC. With that being said, Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of week number 4, top 5 for the major division rankings in baseball?
These are the best. These are the best 5 in HBCU baseball. Bethune-Cookman, Texas Southern, Florida A&M, all 10-2. But out of those 10-2 teams, I think you obviously have to give the edge to Bethune-Cookman, especially with the pitching. I mean, they have just top-notch pitching within the conference. And then Grambling and UAPB, they fall, right in line, right behind those two. It's going to be a very interesting weekend, especially when you take a look at Florida A&M at Jackson State. Huge for Jackson State to try to get, a series win to try to get some momentum going in their direction. But it's going to be tough. Florida A&M is a very, very good baseball team.
Good stuff there, Charles, in terms of your rankings. We also had the Black College 9 that came out, and it's what they call small division as well as its large division in terms of the rankings there. We want to kind of go over that, and I'll do that at the end. But I'm going to come to AD Drew before I break down what they have as the top 5. They actually list the top 10, but I'll give the top 5 and ask folks to go check out the Black College 9 to give them a little addition of folks checking them out because they do a lot of great work in terms of following HBCU baseball at both what we call the mid-major and major division levels and even the independents, giving updates of conference games, non-conference games, win streaks, and some of the players that are getting superlatives. AD Drew has done writing in the past for them in terms of helping support their work. AD Drew, what are your thoughts on the top 5?
Obviously, I'm going to make my case that Florida A&M should be in that number 2 slot. Have no argument with Bethune-Cookman in the number 1 spot. They were going to be number 1 before the victory. After the victory, they probably be number 1 next week. But yeah, I think Florida A&M should be in that number 2 slot. one could make an argument that Pine Bluff should be higher, even as high as number 3, maybe at least number 4. Pine Bluff beating the cover off the ball with a 375 batting average and sits number 2 in pitching in the SWAC behind the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Although it's 3/4 of a run behind Bethune-Cookman, they are number 2 in pitching. As a matter of fact, Bethune-Cookman, Arkansas, and Pine Bluff are the only 2 in conference who have a team ERA under 5. So just to kind of let you know where they are. And Arkansas, Pine Bluff is and Bethune-Cookman are 2 of only 4 teams batting above 300 in conference play. So, like I said, I think maybe we just given those metrics, you could possibly push Pine Bluff up at least 1 slot, if not 2.
Interesting.
Brian, I can't do it. I can't do it, Brian.
They just to give you, they had a chance to host FAMU a couple of weeks ago, and they lost 2 of the 3 games to FAMU in terms of that. So always fascinating to see some of those matchups. They did also take on Alabama State. It's not in the mix. It's a little bit outside of that. And they lost 2 of 3 to Alabama State. So that might be where they're a little low, but you're right in terms of the statistics, and it's a team to keep your eyes on in terms of what that looks like. I stopped the Rattlers with Texas Southern, but PV did expose some pitching issues. This series last weekend, the first game was like a football score, 17-14. Almost lost my voice rooting for them, the victory. Also, we saw the second game, and they gave us some runs that they were able to slug it out with a Prairie View team that can't make you pay for mistakes. It's a Prairie View team where they're trying to get into the new coach's culture. It'll be fascinating to see that. But I don't know. I think we got some Rattler fans out there that are pushing for FAMU to be the 2 and not very objective.
They have a scene.
But, it happens. We let our Rattlers. It's good that they are fans. But some of them, I try to get to understand that you're on the media side of this. So you got to kind of be a little more objective.
That's why I have no problem with Bethune being number 1.
AD Drew is very objective. And when he is making a statement on his bread is butter, he'll say that at the beginning. Then he'll get into some analysis, get past that. He's a different type of snake in terms of really understanding and deciding when it's time to do the professional side that he's going to do the professional side.
Yeah, but that Brian,
Go ahead, Charles. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I said, yeah, but that Brian,
yeah. I'm glad he don't. Only thing I know, I'm glad he don't bet like that. That's the issue. Because the bets, he don't play that with his money. But his fandom, he'll put it out there and shake your head and be like, what? You ask him the betting advice, he changes all too. He said, well, you need to look at this and that. Let's take a quick break. We'll have a last segment and talk about some of the key games to keep your eyes on, and then we'll call it a day. Like I said, I have to get to this other event. We'll be right back after this last break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
It's Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I told you I'd give you the top 5 Black College Nines, what they call their large division, what we call our major division poll rankings. It was released this Tuesday, I believe it was. Top 5. You can see how it correlates with what we do here. Number 5, they have Alabama State, 14 and 16 overall. They were previously ranked 5. Yeah, number 4, they have UAPB, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, out of the SWAC, 15 and 19. They were previously ranked 4. At number 3, they have Florida A&M Rattlers, 15-14, previously ranked 3. At number 2, you have the Texas Southern Tigers, 15-12, number 2. So they are in line in terms of how our poll ranking came out at the top. Number 1, without a question, is Bethune-Cookman sitting at 22-10, now 23-10. Number 1. So you see their top 5, actually their top 7 were all the same teams. Grambling and Southern sitting at 6 and 7. Different than what we have in the poll rankings. And thanks, Drew, for pulling that back up so people could see the difference in terms of what we just called out. But go check out the entire top 10. They do have 2 teams outside of the SWAC, with the first 8 teams coming from the SWAC in the poll rankings. They have 2 that are finally to get votes, one out of the NEC and one out of the CAA. With that being said, start with you, Charles. What are some key games that you want people to keep their eyes on this week? You can go either baseball or softball. You can do SWAC or the SIAC. That's of your choice.
Yeah, let me take a look at SWAC baseball. But if any of the 5 and 7 teams in conference, if they can make any headway in terms of this upcoming weekend, got Alabama State going to Huntsville, Alabama A&M. You would think that they would at least take 2 or 3 against Alabama A&M. But tough series for Jackson State, Florida A&M coming into town, as well as taking a look at Southern and Grambling, wherever they're going to play this upcoming weekend. But
it's up north.
It's okay, so it will be okay. So the big weekend for Southern in terms of playing Grambling this weekend, to try to see if they can get 2 out of 3 with that. But over the next couple of weeks, huge for Jackson State. You got Florida A&M coming to Jackson, you got Alabama State coming to Jackson.
Ooh, man, tough. Man, that new format for the SWAC, boy. You don't have no weekends off. Good baseball to watch for us that entertaining. I love it. We get to talk about it. Drew, what direction are you going in terms of just that? The SWAC or SIAC in terms of games to keep your eyes on?
I'm gonna go SIAC. Probably the most watched game this week is going to be Edward Water Savannah State in the SIAC. Teams sitting around that 3, 4, 5 mark. Definitely one to keep an eye on. Albany State traveling to Benedict. Everybody in the SIAC knows Benedict is a tough place to win at. They definitely have a home field advantage at that particular ballpark. Keep your eye on Morehouse, Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta should have had a sweep this past weekend. Morehouse, on paper, should be the better team. But anytime you get 2 rivals together, there's no telling what can happen. And the way the standings go in the SIAC, you got 4 or 5 teams clustered right there together. You can go from number 7 to number 3 in one weekend, and you can go from number 3 to number 8 in that same weekend, just depending on what you do and what everybody else does, because the SIAC is so clustered right there.
Yes, sir. Let's give you a little bit of softball. As I said, Chivalry's not dead. Not just a huge games to keep your eyes on here, but always entertaining when you're talking about these conference matchups. You have Alabama State at FAMU. You have Prairie View at Grambling. Texas Southern at Alcorn, Mississippi Valley at Alabama A&M. The one that you might keep your eyes on is Jackson at Bethune-Cookman. You talked a little bit about that ranking. Past week and got a chance to show improve right here. And then you do have Arkansas Pine Bluff at Southern, some of the games that you want to keep your eyes on the softball side of things. For that, let's call it a show. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. Hope you all enjoyed the interview with Coach Hernandez. I know the Snakes were out in getting it done. What is
when my phone rang, Travis said that was Brian calling me about my comments about the rankings.
I thought he was going to tell you there's no talking in the press box. Put them on silent with the post-game interviews. Come on, AD Drew. He the main one be telling everybody now.
I should know better.
So you're right. It probably was Brian calling me like, man, what you doing, man? Change your votes. Change your votes. You know these folks here talking about voting. With that being said, I want to say thank you for Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, 7 o'clock Eastern. We'll be back next week to discuss the latest news in the lab. That is, follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattCavil. That's Threads, Facebook, Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube, and that's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook, I should say. Dream big, continue to move forward. We'll talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
AD?
Lecture.
It never rains in Southern California, but it sure is cloudy. That being said, I'm going to go have me some fun and get some sunlight tomorrow. Give me some good street tacos out this way. I got a couple places. Told me I had to get the Harry's cheesecake as well. So I'll make those things happen before I have to return back to Texas. With that being said, dismissed.